وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. We continue with Kitaab At-Tawheed. Today's Wednesday. Wednesday, March the 4th, 2020, which now is going to be 7:59 p.m., which is on the non-Muslim calendar, which now agrees the 10th of Rajab, the year 1441, after the migration of our Prophet ﷺ. As we continue in this important treatise entitled Kitaab At-Tawheed, as they say, لا يزال الحديث موصولا في باب قول الله تعالى أفأمنوا مكر الله. As we still continue to speak about the affair in which the great Imam that he put in the chapter, which is concerning or was connected with giving up, or rather, everyone, feeling secure from the punishment of Allah, and the opposite of that, which is the despair or lose hope from the mercy of Allah. We have number one, those who recline and rely on the mercy of Allah until they feel secure from His punishment. Until they feel secure from His punishment. Then you have the opposite side of the extreme, which is to lose hope in the mercy of Allah. And we said that these are two affairs that you'll find which all people that they fall into one of the two extremes. And you'll find that it is from the plots, as they say, it's from the Hiyal Iblisiyah. What's wrong? It's from the Hiyal Iblisiyah. It's from those satanic plots and tricks of the shaitan. To either allow the servant to fall into relying on Allah's mercy until he or she becomes severely neglectful of the mandatory duties that's to be performed daily. And they use the excuse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ghafur Rahim. He's all gracious, most merciful. And for that reason, I can do whatever I want. Those people have fell into what? Feeling secure from the punishment of Allah and going to the extreme in this matter, to the point, like we said, that they fell into something that is terrible, which is what? To be extreme in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until one forgets about the affair that He's what? That He's swift in reckoning and He's severe in His punishment. We also talk about those who are on the opposite side of the spectrum, or opposite side of the fence, as we said. Those who are extreme and to the point where they reach a level or they reach a point where they give up from the mercy of Allah. And this is what we've been speaking about for the past couple of lessons. This is what the affair revolved around. And this is what we'll finish today, inshallah. As we talked about the correct belief, if one wants to survive in this crazy world that we live in these days, with all the chaos and the nonsense that's going on, and everyone sees all the trying matters that are taking place in front of us, whether it be within ourselves or within our families. That these are the affairs, like we said, that if the people hold on to them, it will be a means of their survival and their prosperity in this world. Likewise in the hereafter. So that was the affair that it revolved around what we just said. And we stopped at the narration, if everyone looks in their books. Where did we stop at, everyone? We stopped at the narration in regards to what was mentioned in the authority of Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu wa ardah. أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم سئل عن الكبائر فقال الشرك بالله واليأس من روح الله والأمن من مكر الله. I think this is the narration we stopped at, if I'm not mistaken. That was asked the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam about the kaba'ir, What is the meaning of kaba'ir? This kaba'ir means the major sins. The major sins. This is where we stopped at last class. Based upon this word, al-kaba'ir, it shows that sins are not on the same level. Due to the fact that it's called what? Kaba'ir. Major sins. Which necessitates one to understand that there's what? There's other types of sins that are lower in level. Or not lower in level, we should say, so people won't start to slight sin. But there's sins that they're of different levels. Even though all of them are what? All of them are tremendous. No one should slight or belittle disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether it be major or minor. Whether it be major or minor. But they're all affairs which the abd or the servant is diligent of abstaining from, because there's no way that one will be successful in this world if he's committing acts that angers Allah. And that's how a person should think when they hear the word sin. Sin means you fell into a matter that angered Allah. You fell into a matter that angers Allah. You fall into what they call dhanb or sin. Or we know that sin is an affair that angers Allah. And it also would now bring about a punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if one is to do it. So when you hear an affair being muharram, as they say in Arabic, meaning muharram means unlawful, or it's prohibited. You shouldn't do it. Muharram, or prohibited. We look at it as we look at these words, and for people is to ponder on them, they mean affairs that you do not do, because as a result of it, you'll anger Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You anger Allah, and what could be as a result of it, one could be punishable by the hellfire. One could be punishable by the hellfire. So no one should think that the word sin or prohibited matters or sinful matters, it's something small, it's something big. These affairs, like we said, should be tremendous in our hearts to not commit acts or do acts that anger Allah. One should think in this life, you will never be successful if you are committing acts that angers Allah. You'll never be successful. No matter how much money you amass, or how much money you accumulate, or you attain. No matter how much money or riches you have, Allah could punish you in another way. You can have riches of this world, but still be the most miserable person. And how many people do we know that's pious and upright with Allah, and they don't have much money, but they're the happiest in this world? Why? Because they attain and they realize the true meaning of happiness. As the non-Muslims, that they propagate what, everyone? The true happiness goes back to worldly prosperity. That you have to be successful worldly in order to attain happiness. They think that the affair, that's the foundation of happiness, is to be financially stable and financially successful. Which is not the case. And we're not saying for people to be irresponsible. That's not what we're saying. We know in the religion, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has obliged upon us to be self-sufficient and to work to the point where we're not dependent on the people. That's something that's legislated in the religion. For us to always set out towards what? Towards being self-sufficient as much as possible, where you do not have your hand sticking out or asking anyone for anything. That is one of the foundations of the religion, in which we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with a person seeking his own sustenance until he does not have to beg. No doubt. But at the same time, we do not make that to say that the ultimate goal of happiness, that it relies upon worldly status or financial prosperity to the point where you reach the highest levels of it, where now you become neglectful as far as your rights with Allah. And you thinking now that you're going to attain happiness, even though you're very disobedient and you're coming up short in your rights with your Lord. For verily that person now will never be happy, even if he had an abundance of wealth. Especially if you're coming up short in your rights with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah can make you rich and still make you the most miserable person in this world. And we know numerous examples of this, where people are financially stable and they're still the most miserable people. Why? Because they think with them being disobedient to Allah and them committing acts that angers Allah, as a result of it, I'm still going to be happy regardless. That's not the case. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? It's not the case. If you're upright with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, regardless of your financial status, Allah will make you happy whether you be rich or poor. But a person has to make his basis upon piety and uprightness with Allah, and making sure his affairs are straight between him and his Lord. That's the success and that's the foundation. Then everything else builds off on top of that. Allah will give you success if Allah sees that you to be wealthy, He will make you wealthy. But at the same time, He'll make you still will be happy. And if Allah sees that riches is not for you in this world, where your provisions are restricted, because maybe having abundance of money might be a means for your corruption or deviation in your religion. So Allah might not will hold back riches from you, so it'll be of a benefit for you. But even though that's the case, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will still make you happy, regardless of your financial status. I don't want him to get hurt. Is he alright? Yeah, I want him to fall off the Yeah, I don't want him to fall. Oh, he was slipping? Yeah. Jade. What was I saying? No. So in this regard, like we said, brothers and sisters, we don't make this our foundation. Our foundation is piety of Allah to be with the other. Just take it back to it. Just take it back to it. That the foundation is to make our foundation the fear of Allah to be with the other, then everything branches off of that. From those affairs that keeps a person focused is what we were speaking about now. Notice it says the first of what is considered the major of all sins, which is the greatest of major sins, is what, everyone? Notice it says polytheism and setting up partners with Allah. As we talked about before last class, the fact that Abdullah ibn Abbas was asked about the kaba'ir, the major sins. Like we talked about before, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He Himself says that sins are different levels. Our Lord, tabarak wa ta'ala, in His book, mentions that these sins, that they break down into different types. From them are the kaba'ir, from the major sins, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah An-Nisa and Surah An-Najm, which we talked about last class. From those ayat, or those verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in tongue twister, right? In tajtanibu kaba'ira ma tunahawna an nukaffir ankum sayyi'atikum. That's one ayah, which is what An-Nisa. If you avoid the major sins which you've been prohibited, we will remit from you your other evil actions, meaning the minor ones. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah is saying, in tajtanibu kaba'ira ma tunahawna an nukaffir ankum sayyi'atikum. If you avoid the major sins of what we prohibited you from committing, then we will remit from you the what? The minor ones. So the minor sins are remitted by the righteous actions. And we know the mukaffirat, the affairs, the acts of worship that remits the major or the minor sins are a lot. They're plentiful. Such as wudu, such as the salat, such as praying from Jumu'ah to Jumu'ah, Ramadan to another Ramadan, Umrah to another Umrah. Those performing the wudu, those affairs allows one to be what? Cleansed of the minor sins. It's the mukaffirat. Those affairs that expiate, that remit the minor sins are plentiful. Meeting a Muslim and shaking his hand until it says that the sins fall off the hands of the mu'min when they meet and they shake hands. For all these affairs, all these matters are a means for the sins or the minor ones to be what? Remitted. But as we know, the major ones need what? They need a specific matter in order for it to be remitted, which is true tawbah. Absolute, pure repentance with the conditions fulfilled. And that's due to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, when the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu ardah, where the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, Al-Jumu'ah ila al-Jumu'ah, wa Ramadan ila Ramadan, wa Umrah ila al-Umrah, wa Jumu'ah ila al-Jumu'ah, wa Ramadan ila Ramadan, mukaffiratun lima baynahun, ish al-shart, idha ijtunibat al-kaba'ir. The Prophet ﷺ clearly mentioned and said, he said, from Umrah to another Umrah, or Ramadan to another Ramadan, and another Jumu'ah, I'm sorry everyone, As-Salat al-Khams, wal-Jumu'ah ila al-Jumu'ah, wa Ramadan ila Ramadan, mukaffiratun lima baynahun, idha ijtunibat al-kaba'ir. He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, which is in the Sahihain, al-Bukhari and Muslim, the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam mentioned and said, that he said the 5 prayers in one Jumu'ah to another Jumu'ah, and another Ramadan to another Ramadan, is an expiation for those sins that happened in between them. The Messenger of Allah gave the condition where he said, if the major sins are avoided. If the major sins are what? Are avoided. So the major sins need a specific matter, which is called what, everyone? Which is called proper repentance, with its conditions. For those matters, you'll find the Messenger of Allah himself even said that there are major destructive sins. So many narrations, these are one of them. Notice the Prophet ﷺ clearly said, إِذَا اجْتُنِبَتِ الْكَبَائِرِ, if the major sins are avoided. In the other narrations where the Messenger of Allah ﷺ mentioned and said, he said, اجْتَنِبُوا السَّبَعَ الْمُوبِقَاتِ. There's a narration which also Bukhari Muslim where he said, stay away from the 7 great destructive sins. اجْتَنِبُوا السَّبَعَ الْمُوبِقَاتِ, the 7 great destructive sins. So all these are narrations that show and display what, everyone? What does it show? What is it teaching us? There are major sins that a person should avoid at all costs in order for him not to now have his Lord angry with him. And a lot of people out here think they can anger Allah on a daily basis and still be successful and attain happiness in this world, where it will not happen. The only way that you can attain true happiness and success is to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And people think they can really cheat the rules of Allah and still attain happiness. It won't happen. How many times have we seen and we tried to so-called circumvent and go around or bypass the boundaries of Allah and still try to attain happiness until we fall on our face? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it clear. We get ourselves in situations and allow us to fall on our faces to make us realize that you cannot what? Circumvent or try to bypass what Allah has set up boundaries in order to attain true happiness. It will never happen. All these affairs, like we said, brothers and sisters, we have to realize that when we hear the words such as major sins, those affairs means that I have now committed an act that Allah could truly punish me by in the hereafter with a tremendous sin, tremendous punishment due to that tremendous sin. So affairs of sins is not something simple, brothers and sisters, it's something tremendous. And that's how we need to look at it. So these affairs at the highest level of major sins, the Prophet ﷺ noticed in so many narrations, he started with what? Polytheism. Setting up partners with Allah in His worship is the greatest of all sins. There's no sin greater than polytheism, in which he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, in his narration. Notice the Prophet ﷺ didn't say drinking or intoxicants or murder or stealing, or even though they are major sins. Nobody's saying that. So nobody's slighting sin. However, we know there are different magnitudes, and the Messenger of Allah said that the head of all of those, can you imagine killing someone or coming in this room and someone slaughtering little infant babies here, because that's what the Bible says. But at any rate, that's just a side point. Yes, it is in the Bible, in which you'll find that there was a ruling in the Bible. If I was able to bring the story, I would show you, where they said in the Bible that God commanded to slaughter little children and babies, and that was the command in the Bible. And I'll tell you the trick, I'll bring it later. But at any rate, that's just a side point. But at any rate, if a person came in here, there was a babies in here, and you seen him slaughter innocent little infants, how would you look? What would be your reaction? Everyone. Everyone would be going ballistic. Doing everything to what? Stop the individual. You lost your mind? Everyone would be like he's doing something tremendous. SubhanAllah, you killing innocent infants. It's something that's unimaginable that a human being would do. Right, everyone? Shirk is worse than that. Polytheism is worse than that. Is it clear or is it not clear? Polytheism is worse than that. Rather, it's in a whole category in itself. Now you see the disgusting level of how polytheism is. Homosexuality, same thing. How many people you'll find, men, they're walking down the street, you'll find, oh, subhanAllah, how could you do something like that? Certain people, of course, they've got a natural disposition that hasn't been affected by America. They'll probably be like, that's a terrible thing. I don't think that's good for a man to come to another man. But everybody will be repulsed by hearing something like that, right? Ooh, polytheism is worse than that. Is it clear, everyone? Polytheism is worse. Can you imagine someone walking in a room and you see him killing thousands and thousands of people, slaying women and children and men unjustly, just cutting their necks off one by one by one by one, until you would be what? You want to throw up by what you're seeing. Polytheism is worse than that. Is it clear, everyone? Right. So the Prophet ﷺ said, polytheism is setting up partners with Allah. You'll find in his narrations where the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, there was other occasions where he would mention other sins. And he was asked the same exact question about the major sins. You understand, everyone? You'll find that in saying that regard, that dependent on the addressment of who the Messenger of Allah was addressing, from the Sahabi, of what was suitable for that particular Sahabi to teach him something specific, that's what he gave the answer based upon. Not saying that the only sins that are major are mentioned in this specific narration. There's others. It's clear what I'm saying? There's other sins, not just what was mentioned here specifically. As you know, there's narrations where the Messenger of Allah was asked about what the major sins, just an example I just gave a couple of minutes ago, where the Messenger of Allah said, he said, he said, stay away from the 7 great destructive sins. And it was said, number 1, الشرك بالله والسحر وقتل النفس التي حرم الله إلا بالحق وأكل الربا وأكل مال اليتيم وتولي يوم الزحف وقذف المحسنات الغافلات المؤمنات. End of the narration. Anyway, when the Messenger of Allah was asked, stay away and abstain from the 7 great destructive sins, and he started with that same one by saying polytheism with Allah. Then he said magic. Then he said killing the soul of an innocent soul or bystander, where his soul was killed unjustly, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not what? Make legal for you to kill at all. To the end of the narration. So you have different narrations that what? They give you other tremendous sins to let you know that what was mentioned here, that it is not specific for these only 3, which you just read in your book. Is it clear, everyone? If you want to read, do me a favor, Bilal. Share with him. Share with him. Bilal has a book. Oh, so you can use your book right here. It's G. All right, G. So the mere fact that these 3 sins were mentioned in this narration doesn't mean it's restricted to what, everyone? These 3. This narration where the Messenger of Allah said, was asked about the kaba'ir, and it was said, he said, أن تقتل ولدك خشية أن يطعم معك ثم أي يا رسول الله قال أن تزاني بحليلة جارك. For example, there's another narration where the Messenger of Allah mentioned about the major sins, but he always in these narrations will start with what, everyone? Polytheism. Then after that, they will be different. Certain sins that will be mentioned in one narration, and then that one in another narration will be another one that is slightly different. You understand? But all the narrations agree with what? The mention of what, everyone? Polytheism. It'll be the top of the list. So if the top of the list is learning about shirk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what would be the most primary focus of those who are calling to Islam should be their focus and their goal and they're basing their da'wah upon monotheism? So that's the reason why everyone, and I'm teaching the people, when you see these callers not talking about these affairs, you know that they're making a major error and having a major discrepancy in their call to let you know to avoid them. Because there's no one that's calling the true pure Islam except that they're focused on these matters first, because you see the message of Allah in every narration is saying that the greatest of deeds is Tawheed and the worst of all sins is what? It's polytheism, which is the opposite of it. So if that's not the main affair, which is the most important, why don't you think that's the main affair which they should be starting with? Why is it that this da'i is not talking about this? Why is he avoiding mentioning this? Yeah, but he's talking about families. Yeah, but that's not the origin of what's going to rectify the people. There's no way that the people are going to now learn about family matters and they don't have the actual foundation of having knowledge about their Lord to apply those family matters. So regardless of how many classes you have in families, if there's no foundation where the people have knowledge of Allah, they're not going to want to apply it. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Everybody wants the family matters, but there's no usul, there's no foundation. So that's the reason why we find that the message of Allah started with this matter first, because He knows it's the most primary focus and it is the most vital of all affairs in which the people need to focus on cleansing before anything else. And that anything, once that now has been well established and purified and actualized, everything else will fall into place after that. Right? So there's a narration where the message of Allah mentioned and said, was asked about the major sins. One narration is said, shirk, of course you know polytheism. Then after that he said, and taqtula waladak khashata an yat'ama ma'ak, that you kill your child out of fear he will eat with you, meaning out of poverty. You will kill your child out of fear that he will what? Cause you to be impoverished. But you'll find that there are people out here that mistreat their children, all out of poverty or out of fear of poverty. From, for example, either killing them, either killing the child, or throwing him in the garbage in a trash can, as we heard stories of people taking their infant children and throwing them in the garbage, or dropping them off on an orphanage, then driving off and nobody knows who and when or who left the child. Or, for example, being very, very trifling. And this is to those people, those parents that don't like to raise their kids because they think in their mind, oh man, subhanAllah, I got to take my child out. That means I'm going to have to buy him a hot dog. Or that means I'm going to have to go pay for his food. Oh man, if your child can't even get $50, your own child that you took time out to make in the bedroom, when you took time out to have that sit down, you found you wasn't busy then. You wasn't busy when it was time to have to sit down. You found time to sit down with the girl. Or you found time to do the haram too. It was on that type of what? And that type of. You found some type of time to lay with that woman. But now when it comes to true responsibility comes to raise the child, I'm too busy. Too busy. You had time to sit down. You had time to take her on a date. You had the time to lay down in the room with her. You got time to raise the child. And if you don't have time, you better make time, because all these affairs are you're going to be held accountable for on the day of resurrection. You're going to be happy that someone was severe and being stern with you in this world, because the accountability of neglecting your children on the day of resurrection is something tremendous. Something tremendous. So the message of Allah said that you kill your child out of fear of poverty. What branches off from that one word is all these affairs. Number one, killing your children, because we know that the Arab, during the time when the message of Allah before the advent of his messengership, that the children used to be killed. It wasn't just the daughters, it was the males also. You'll find narrations where they say, وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ, that the woman or the female that was born used to be buried alive. Wasn't out of fear of poverty in certain cases. It was because they used to think that females would bring dishonor to the family by doing something that would be an act that would cause some type of dishonor. So out of fear, from that they would just kill them, bury them alive. There's other narrations said they used to actually kill their children, whether it be a male or female, out of poverty. So that was from the satanic practices, and it will all return back, or the affair, excuse me. The majority of it turned back was out of fear, what? Poverty. And that's the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the ayats, that from the major sins is what? Killing your children out of fear of poverty. So the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam counted in this particular act what? After shirk, he said killing your children. There's also some, and then there's another narration that says that you commit fornication with the wife of your neighbor. And there's a narration that says that a person, and the Messenger of Allah is not slighting sin here. He's saying that you would commit fornication with an abundance or group of women that's not your wife. It's better for you to commit fornication with the wife of your neighbor. Why? Why did the Messenger of Allah say this? Because committing zina with the wife of your neighbor causes corruption in society on a larger scale. Because that's your neighbor. And your neighbor you're supposed to have good ties with, a good relationship with. That's part of building a solid, found society. That you have the most good treatment with your neighbor. And now from the most ultimate corruption is that you would transgress that boundary of what? Doing something with his wife, which would cause a tremendous corruption in society. So in this narration, the Messenger of Allah focused on what? So the Messenger of Allah is not slighting sin. Of course, we know committing zina with one woman is a tremendous sin. That's enough. We know what comes as a result of it, from lashes to the end of it, if we would live in an Islamic society. So nobody's slighting. But the Messenger of Allah is just saying the magnitude of this sin of you committing fornication with the wife of your neighbor is on a whole other magnitude, because it causes tremendous corruption within society. Because what builds a society is what? It's the family, and then right outside is what? Your neighbor. And the neighbors also make up the society. So everybody be working in harmony. Jade. There's narration where the Messenger of Allah said, he was asked about the major sins. He said polytheism, and then what came after it was what? Uquq al-walidayn. There's another narration. Being disrespectful and undutiful to your parents. Right after shirk with him. And that's to the children. So it's not only the adults, the children also. You have to realize that these affairs of being undutiful and disrespectful to your parents is something tremendous with Allah. It's not something small. It's something tremendous. And there's not a punishment that Allah hastens. Faster you'll find, which it says in the narrations, which the Messenger of Allah said, and which Allah hastens for a punishment in this world, more the disrespect will be undutiful to your parents. And that's to also what? Advise our children and our youth. If you think you're going to be prosperous and successful and you're being disrespectful and undutiful to your parents, you're going to have to think again. You understand, everyone? G. So the point of why we mention these narrations to show what, everyone? That the Messenger of Allah talked about the affairs of the kaba'ir, that they're major sins and they're also what? Minor ones. And one should not slight the minor ones also. Because if a person consistently does it, then it can become from the what? It can come from the major ones. It becomes from the major ones. Right, so it's this narration. If you look at your books, everyone, look at your books. It says it was asked about the major sins. And it said polytheism with Allah. And then in the narration here, what does it say? Al-yats min ruhillah. He says al-yats min ruhillah. It says to give up from the mercy of Allah. And also from the major sins is to feel secure from the punishment of Allah. To feel secure from the punishment of Allah, or the plan of Allah, the plan of Allah. Al-amnu min makrillah. You'll find that the great Imam, Sheikh Abdurrahman bin Hassan Ali Sheikh, rahimahullah, rahimahullah, وجزاه الله عنا وعن المسلمين وعن الحق خير الجزاء. When he mentioned it, said فيه التنبيه على الرجاء والخوف. These narrations of what we've been studying, it says, is to bring awareness to what? Al-Raja' wal-Khawf. That a person, from the affairs that will keep you balanced in this world, number one, is to always have hope in the mercy of Allah. And to have at the same time fear of Allah, that He can punish you. to have that hope of mercy and that hope of what? Fear. So you could be balanced in this world. And that at one time in your life, when you feel that you are starting to become secure from the punishment of Allah, that you feel that in yourself you're becoming lax in your duties, your religious duties, then one should give precedence to what? Fear. To bring you back to balance again. And you'll find for those Muslims, for example, that they say, oh, I'll get myself together. Allah's all gracious, most merciful. Inshallah, I know I haven't prayed in 2 years, but inshallah, I'll get myself together one day. If you find that you have this type of feeling, being lackadaisical to this extent, then it's incumbent upon you to now give precedence to what everyone? To fear of Allah. To bring you back to balance. Is it clear? And if you find in yourself that shaitan is now whispering in your ear to make you switch it, where you now get to the point where you're starting feeling yourself, oh, I'm a munafiq, I can't do anything right. SubhanAllah, I just feel that Allah will never forgive me for what I did. I committed an evil act. I feel in myself that Allah will never forgive me. All this is also another instability. This is another type of instability and another type of what? Imbalance. Now, if this is the case where you feel in yourself, or you see yourself this type of affair, then give precedence to what everyone? To the mercy of Allah. To bring you back to balance again. To bring you right back to what? To balance. Who's those deviant sects that fall into these affairs, everyone? No, as far as let me start with mercy. The mercy. Just relying on Allah's mercy all the time. The Murji'ah. The Greek group called the Murji'ah. Deviant sect called the Murji'ah. What's the Murji'ah? Those who, for example, let's keep it simplistic for everyone. Murji'ahs, those Muslims you'll find that they say, I don't have to pray 5 times a day, faith is here in my heart. Sister, why don't you wear jilbab? I don't have to do that, faith is here. Brother, why don't you grow your beard? I don't have to do that, faith is here. It's in my heart right here. Huh? That group is called the Murji'ah. That's a deviant sect. These people have fell into what we're talking about in this chapter. That's the reason why we're studying it, which is called feeling secure from the punishment of Allah, and also what? Relying on Allah's what? Mercy. Forgetting about Allah's what? Punishment. Is it clear? Here you go. It's a child that just said, he said, I heard a Muslim man say to me, this is the type of things our kids have to listen to. From adults say these type of ignorant statements. Oh, you don't have to pray, as long as you think about prayer, you're good. What did he just do? He removed actions from what, everyone? From faith. He just removed actions from what, everyone? From faith. Actions is the actual element to show what is in your heart truly. Understand? Actions is what reflects in your heart of whether or not truly you are fearing Allah. The indication and the evidence for what's in your heart is in your actions, in your application. Understand, everyone? We talked about that. So the deviant sect who went to the extremes in this regard of reclining or relying on the mercy of Allah is who, everyone? The Murji'ah. That's a deviant sect which you'll find from the Muslims who say this out of their mouth, you don't have to pray, Islam is here and faith is here. I don't have to pray, I don't have to come to Jumu'ah, faith is here. I don't have to look Muslim, faith is here. It's in my heart right here. I don't have to grow my beard, faith is here. I don't have to come to Jumu'ah, faith is here. I don't have to pray 5 times a day, faith is here. Oh, I don't even have to pray 5. I can pray 1 here, 2 here, faith is here. Allah's all gracious, most merciful. What did that person do? What did he fall into? Here, what you see in the chapter. Which is to be what, everyone? Secure from what? The punishment of Allah. Clear? Then you have the opposite side of those who fall into the extreme of being from the deviant sect called the Khawarij. The deviant sect called, as we know, they call them terrorists. Even though they combine between Irja and the Khawarij here. Though what's so strange is about the Khawarij of today are not like the Khawarij of old. The Khawarij of today are more stupid than the Khawarij of old. Because they gather between Irja and Khariji at the same time. Understand? You'll find that they didn't pray at all. Won't pray, but they will be working diligently to overthrow a government. Like, you didn't even pray Fajr. Are you talking about overthrowing the Muslim ruler? You didn't even pray Fajr this morning. Exactly. People in ISIS that don't pray. But you're worried about overthrowing and making jihad and overthrowing the Muslim governments, but don't pray. What did they gather between, brothers? They gather between Murji'ah and being what? Kharijiyya at the same time. Which is to let you know that the deviant sect of the Khawarij today are more stupid than of old. At least the Khawarij of old during the time of the Sahaba and some of the Tabi'een, they were sincere in their misguidance. Clear, listen to me. And they stayed upon and true to their misguidance, and they died upon it. They ain't play games and jump all around the table. Let's be Khariji today, somewhat Irja today, Murji today, be from Murji tomorrow. Let's gather between both. No. They say they were the most diligent as far as performing all acts of worship. That's what the Messenger of Allah talked about. That they would read the Quran, they would be up all night, reading those, reciting the Quran, until some of the Sahaba, when they were in battle with them, they see how swollen their hands were, and how the prostration where something was bulging out, and how sleep and tired they looked with rings under their eyes, to let you know how diligent in their worship they were. And at the same time, the Messenger of Allah described them as being what? Dogs of hell. Even though they had this diligence. Clearly says it in Bukhari. They were the dogs of hell. Even though they were having a diligence of what? Worship. He said when they were in battle with them, they had rings around their eyes. When Ibn Abbas came to them and had debated with them to establish their falsehood that they were upon, he said he looked at their hands, how swollen they were. And their feet were swollen, and they had rings around their eyes to let you know how they used to stay up all night praying, worship. And despite of that, what everyone? Dogs of the hellfire. Why? Because their foundation of their religion was what? Corrupt. The foundation as far as the belief system has some discrepancy in it. That's the reason why you'll find that the Salafis and the people who are upon the truth always focus on the foundation first. Not talking about family members and they lost the foundation, where people don't have no knowledge of Allah, and then they jump right to family members thinking that's what's going to make everything disappear. And they have no foundation. Is it clear, everyone? Focus on these matters first, because the Messenger of Allah clearly showed and displayed the ultimate consequence of those who are fundamentally corrupt, and where they will end up, even though they have a diligence of what openly looks as if they're doing, which is what? Righteous actions. But the belief, if it's corrupt, then it's what? It's baseless, fruitless. And the Messenger of Allah gave a clear example of that. Reciting Quran, hands swollen from them fasting, rings around their eyes, all this diligence, and they still the dogs of hell. Why? Fundamentally, in their belief system and their conviction, there was a what? A major discrepancy. Clear? We get a question. I thought you were with this. Okay. Right. So at any rate, so the opposite side of the spectrum, what they call from reclining on the mercy of Allah, the other side is what, everyone? Despairing from the mercy of Allah. From those deviant sects that fall into that, at the head of them is the Khawarij. You understand, everyone? It's the Khawarij. And then those who are extreme, as I keep saying in this, mentioning this, those who are extreme in the religion, but they are extreme on themselves until the point where they give up. And I've seen this happen to a lot of Muslims. And a lot of Salafis that come in, they come in the fold, and they try to do everything all at once without doing it gradually. Not focusing on the most important of affairs. Then they end up what? Falling off. I've seen it happen to a lot of people. Extreme in their affairs, not coming into this matter, gradually, focusing on, as they say in Arabic, al-aham fal-aham. Starting with the most important of affairs. And then you'll find that they are also hard on other people. comes as a result of it, Allah will be hard on them. And then they fall what? Fall right off. You'll find that they despair from the mercy of Allah, or the religion is too hard. And that's what the Messenger of Allah ﷺ mentioned clearly when he said, لَن يُشَادِدْ دِينَ أَحَدٌ إِلَّا غَلَبَهُ. There's no one that is extreme in a religion, so the religion will beat him. It will defeat him or her. So Ahl Sunnah, the Salafis, Ahl Hadith, and the people of the correct belief are in the middle. Not too far to the left and not too far to the right, and each depending on your circumstance, your condition at that particular time, what you see where Shaitan is trying to trick you and go into the avenue or the side where you think you're being lax, then this is coming upon you to give precedence to what again, everyone? Fear. To bring you back to balance. If you feel yourself and start to become lax, then you give precedence to fear of Allah. And if you see yourself going to the opposite, and you start to despair, and you're thinking the religion is becoming it's too hard, I'm about to give up, then what do? You give precedence to what? Hope, to bring you right back to what? Back to balance. So you do not what? Fall off. Because that's all Shaitan wants you. Right, so that's the Nibbles narration. So that's what we mentioned and said about the narration of Ibn Abbas, and then we have the same narration of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu Allah. What did he say, everyone? Read it for me. Read it for me, Hassan. The last one, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu Allah. Find it? Yes. 75. Oh, still on 176. Oh, the greatest major sins right there. Oh, okay, read that. Ar-Razzaaq. If there's any narrator of hadith from the great Imam of the past, of anyone I don't know, that would be who? That would be the one I would know, right? AbdurRazzaaq. AbdurRazzaaq was the Imam of Yemen. His full name was AbdurRazzaaq ibn Hammam ibn Nafi' al-San'ani al-Yamani. So the great Imam, in which Imam Ahmad and Yahya Ma'in all traveled to hear hadith from the great Imam of Yemen. His name was AbdurRazzaaq ibn Hammam ibn Nafi' al-San'ani al-Yamani. He died 211 of the Hijrah. He died 211. The great Imam. And you'll find that those who used to narrate off AbdurRazzaaq, his name was Ma'bad ibn Rashid al-Azdi. He was originally from Basra, then he became Yemeni. If you look at a hadith, or a chain of it, isnad, you'll usually find after AbdurRazzaaq, Ma'bad ibn Rashid al-Azdi in the chain of the narrators. If you look at the chain, what comes after AbdurRazzaaq usually is Ma'bad ibn Rashid al-Azdi. And you guys are going to see this one across, y'all going to read AbdurRazzaaq, y'all going to read the chain. Who comes right after it? Ma'mar. His original name was Ma'mar ibn Rashid al-Azdi. He was originally from Basra, but he moved to what? To Yemen. He was from the major students of AbdurRazzaaq. But at any rate, that's just some sabbath. Here in this narration, that's just some sabbath. You ain't got to write that down. But at any rate, from those narrations that AbdurRazzaaq mentioned in his tremendous treatise entitled Al-Musannaf. AbdurRazzaaq has a tremendous treatise that all the students of knowledge have in libraries. It's called Musannaf AbdurRazzaaq. Musannaf AbdurRazzaaq contains all the statements of the Sahaba, all their narrations. Not hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, even though a couple are mentioned. But the main reason why the great Imam AbdurRazzaaq authored this book is that it contains the athar, the narrations of the Sahaba. It contains the narrations of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. Is it clear or not clear? No. Musannaf AbdurRazzaaq. Musannaf. Musannaf means He's like the treaties of where he gathered something. All types. But the gathering, what he gathered here was narrations of the Sahaba. So if you all you want to find in the narrations and statements of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ of different affairs of the religion, you'll find them in Musannaf. Is it clear, everyone? You also have Musannaf Ibn Abi Shayba. I'll talk about it. طيب. So this says in this narration, what everyone, on the authority of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said that the major sins is number one, what is it, everyone? Polytheism. Setting up partners with Allah in His worship. Then the second, now listen to what Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said. Feeling secure from the punishment of Allah. Feeling secure from the punishment of Allah. It's from the major sins. Feeling secure from the punishment of Allah. How do you translate it again in your book, Hassan? What does it say? Feeling secure from Him. No, that's not right. الأمن من مكر الله. It says here مكر الله. كيف هو مكتوب عندك يا رشيد؟ No, في العربية. من مكر الله. لماذا قال يعني him? That's funny. He said الأمن من مكر الله. To be secure from the punishment of Allah. That's how it should be. I don't know why they translate it like that. But to feel secure from the punishment of Allah. It's not like this. You understand? Is it clear, everyone? Right. Notice it meant that Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. What is Abdullah ibn Mas'ud's full name, everyone? Abu Abdurrahman ibn Ummi Abd. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud ibn Ghafil al-Hudali. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud ibn Ghafil al-Hudali. The great Sahabi. Anyway. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud ibn Ghafil al-Hudali radiyallahu anhu ibn Ummi al-Abd. Abu Abdurrahman. The great Sahabi. He said from the major sins is that to feel secure from the punishment of Allah. We gave examples of those Muslims that fall into this, right, everyone? So we need to mention that again. Then he says the opposite side of that, which is what? To despair, give up from what? So no one should never what? Despair from the mercy of Allah. But at the same time, you never should what? Be secure from the punishment of Allah. So you're right in the middle. And depending on what situation that shaitan is trying to get you in, because he's trying to get you to go on one side of the extreme, then that's the affair which you use the opposing matter to bring you back to balance. Is it understood what I'm saying? So if you're feeling like a shaitan is trying to whisper in your ear, say, give up, this religion is too hard. Then you what? Then you can press this to what, everyone? The mercy of Allah to bring you back to balance. Then if you feel that you're saying, oh, shaitan is saying to you, you don't have to pray 5 times a day. Your faith is here in your heart. If you feel that shaitan is trying to get you to now be lax in these matters, especially the obligatory ones, then what do you get precedence to, everyone? It's the fear of Allah. To bring you back to balance. And you read those narrations that gives you that fear of Allah. To bring you back to balance when you find being too lax. For example, the narrations that show the magnitude of being very neglectful in your prayers. Read the narration which the Messenger of Allah, in which the Sahaba had what? Had clearly explained the magnitude of that type of sin. So it can bring you back to balance. Is it clear, everyone? So everything is in its proper place in the religion to keep us, everyone, in the middle, right in the middle. Not to be what? Too far to the left or too far what? To the right. And we talked about the deviant sects of those who deviated in these matters. We already spoke about that. Fine. So then he mentioned it said, to feel secure from the punishment of Allah, and to despair from His mercy, and to yats min ruhillah, which is basically the same thing, to despair or to give up from, it says the ruh, the spirit of Allah, which means here, the mercy of Allah, to put it with that. So let's read the Masail, everyone, because we've got to finish this chapter and we stop. Read it for me, I forgot your name. Huh? Crackers. Read it for me, Bilal. The first Masala. Look at your books, everyone. The explanation of the ayah of Surah Al-A'raf. The explanation of Surah the ayah, which is Surah Al-A'raf, was talking about the people in the village, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested them, right? Tested them for what? In order for them to what? Return back to the truth and make repentance. So Allah afflicted them with different types of difficulties. From hunger, starvation, drought, you name it, right? So that's what the ayah says. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس يذيقهم بعض الذي عملوا لعلهم يرجعون. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his book that corruption is manifested in the lands and in the sea due to what man has earned, due to what he did, in order to make him taste some of what he did, in order for him to return, meaning to make him repent. So when things are going left in your life, you always reflect on what? Where are you coming up short with your duties with Allah? Things are going left, you don't take the mentality like the non-Muslims, oh, this is just natural causes, this is what life happens. No. The true person that has the true belief and the correct belief system always goes back to who, everyone? Blames everyone around him, goes back to himself. That's the proper belief system and that's the proper training of the da'wah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam talked about, evil rulers will be appointed over you. What did the message of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tell us to start with? Blame the rulers or who? Blame yourself first. These people are over you because they evil you're committing. And Allah appoints over people to reflect what the people are. If you want righteous leaders to be appointed over you, then fix what's in yourself. Right? So all these affairs tell us to rectify what? Start with where everyone blame everybody else, or start with who? Yourself. America's the opposite. The opposite. Have the blame mentality. It's everybody else's fault except mine. It's your fault why I'm this happening in my life. It's your fault why I drink. It's your fault why I get high. It's your fault why I'm committing zina. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault the way I am the way I am. That's America. That's the hellfire, the inhabitants of the hellfire mentality. The blame mentality. Then what's so crazy is the same thing, how you're going to blame everybody, it's the same thing that's going to be happening in the hellfire when they're going to be trying to blame everybody else. So-and-so misled me. So-and-so misled me. But you're still in the punishment too, because you obeyed them. So you take some type of what? Blame in the sin too. They called you to it, then what? You answer. Same thing Shaitan said. قال الشيطان لما قضي الأمر إن الله وعدكم وعد الحق ووعدتكم وإيش فأخلفتكم وما كان لي عليكم من سلطان إلا دعوتكم فاستجبتم لي فلا تلوموني لوموا أنفسكم ما أنا بمصرخكم وما أنتم بمصرخي إني كفرت بما أشركتموني من قبل إن الظالمين لهم عذاب أليم. Clear as the sun in the sky. Shaitan will say when the affair's been concluded, when everyone's going to paradise and the hell people in heaven's going to hell, Shaitan is going to call out when he knows that he's going to hell. He's going to call out and say to the people that it happens to the hell, he said, verily Allah promised you to promise the truth. I promised you, and now I take my promise back. I retract it, and now what? I betray my promise. وَوَعَدْتُكُمْ فَأَخْلَفْتُكُمْ. I promise you, and I betray my promise. I had no power over you except what? I called you, you answered. مَا كَانَ لِي عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْ سُلْطَانٍ إِلَّا دَعَوْتُكُمْ فَاسْتَجَبْتُمْ لِي. I called you, you answered me. ما كان لي عليكم سلطان إلا دعوتكم فاستجبتم فلا تلوموني لوموا إيش أنفسكم. Now this is what Shaitan said. Don't blame me. What did Shaitan say? Blame yourself. I can't save you. You can't save me. ما أنا بمصرخكم وما أنتم بمصرخي. Verily I disbelieve in what you set up with partners in Allah and His worship. So Shaitan knows Tawheed. Shaitan himself knows Allah is the only one that deserves to be worshipped. He knows the truth. I had no problem. You can't save me, I can't save you. I disbelieve what you set up with partners with Allah. So now Shaitan is affirming what? That Tawheed is the truth. Verily the Zalimeen, the polytheists will have what? A painful tomb. So that shows that on the day of resurrection, the blameworthy mentality will try to be used in the hellfire. Same way America develops your mind to blame everybody for all your problems, it's the same mentality the people that hellfire will have, and all of them will be what? Punished. So whose attitude of you when you blaming everybody around you for why your problems is going on? What's the mentality of who, everyone? The inhabitants of hell. If you always blaming why your life is going left, it's always so-and-so's fault, it's always so-and-so's fault, and you never stop to ever say, you know what, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm not praying my prayers on time. Maybe I'm not praying maybe I'm not coming up short. Maybe I'm coming up short as far as in my duties with Allah. Let me find with my discrepancies where I'm coming up short. And let me try to rectify it. Maybe I'm listening to music. Maybe I'm going out with the date when that girl I should be messing with. Maybe. Man, you think, man, I was on social media hollering at that girl. Dang, I went on that date last night. Dang, that could be the reason. You think why your life is going left? You think, dang, I did lie the other day. I did cheat somebody and I tried to be slick to get over on somebody the other day. I did do that. Yeah. Think. Focus. I'm sure you will come up with where you did something you shouldn't have been doing. Understand, everyone? Gee. So this is the affair which we mentioned of why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what? Tested the people of the village in Surah Al-A'raf until when they wanted to become arrogant and still wanted to blame everyone else, and they still want to continue upon their belligerence and arrogance, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do? Switched it on them. He started bestowing upon them blessings even though they were doing evil. In which now the affair is becoming critical until they reach the level where Allah is now about to set them up for a trap. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said He started bestowing upon them abundantly bestowing upon them abundantly blessings and bounties until when the punishment came, they wasn't expecting it, and they weren't perceiving it, then He got them by surprise. That was the tafsir of the ayah of Surah Al-A'raf. As we talked about, right, everyone? It says in the ayah, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا No, alhamdulillah, just remember. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا فِي قَرْيَةٍ مِّن نَذِيرٍ إِلَّا أَخَذْنَا أَهْلَهَا بِالْبَأْسَاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَضَّرَّعُونَ ثُمَّ بَدَّلْنَا مَكَانَ السَّيِّئَةِ الْحَسَنَةِ حَتَّى عَفَوْا وَقَالُوا قَدْ مَسَّ آبَاءَنَا السَّرَّاءُ وَالضَّرَّاءُ فَأَخَذْنَاهُمْ بَغْتَةً وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. So it says in the ayah where it says that there was not any town or village that we sent a warner to them, except that we took its disobedient people, or its defiant, belligerent, arrogant people. We took them by Ba'sa and Darra. We started making bad, difficult things happen to them. Start touching them with difficulties in their lives. But Ba'sa with Darra, in order for them to humble themselves. They need to come back to the truth. So then we switched and made the place of where they was committing evil, we started doing good for them. And we started doing it in an abundance. And they said, oh, this just happened to our forefathers from before. You know, this is something that happens to everyone. It's just normal life. They said, then we took them. Then we took them by surprise. And they weren't perceiving where it was coming from. So that was the tafsir, Surah Al-A'raf. Please memorize it. Okay, next one. It's further. Oh, the ayah was Surah Al-Hijr. Please memorize it. Right, so the ayah which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions Surah Al-Hijr, which is pertaining to what, everyone? Ayah in Surah Al-Hijr, which was mentioned upon the tongue Ibrahim, Prophet Ibrahim. When he became old, he reached the stage of being elderly. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the greatest of those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested, were the most beloved to him. And to the point where we know that Prophet Ibrahim didn't have children until he reached a very, very what? Stage of being elderly, being old. Didn't have any children. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested him until he reached this stage in his life. Until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the angels and gave him that title of Ghulam Alim. Ghulam Alim. Next tafsir. Next one. Fadl Ahmed. شدة الوعيد في من أمن من مكر شدة الوعيد في من أمن مكر الله. The severe warning for those who feel secure from the punishment of Allah. شدة الوعيد في من أمن مكر الله. That's it. The severe warning for those who feel secure from the punishment of Allah. So now you guys know how to apply this. So when you hear these statements, you know how to apply it. Especially when you go to school, you see what our children have to face every day. Muslims that will come up to them, Yahi, you don't have to make wudu, just make a niyyah, pray, and Allah is all gracious, most merciful. So I can make wudu, I can pray without wudu. Yeah, it's all about the intention. The intention is to get good. So you go. Khalas. Good. You can pray to the dead, could be shirk, as long as you got good intentions. As long as you got good intentions. We've all heard weird, strange things that people say due to their lack of knowledge and due to their lack of proper cultivation in the masajid they attend. Lack of proper cultivation. And you hear that, you see that. You go to these masajid, you hear the statements of certain people when they speak. Man, subhanAllah, did they teach y'all the ABCs in here? It's of Islam? Do y'all know the ABCs of Islam? You'll ask the basic questions. What's the meaning of Islam? They'll give you the most weirdest definitions. Give me the definition of Islam. What is Islam? They won't say it the way the Salafis say it, with the ulama, the proper definition of it, which is what everyone. Islam lillahi bil-Tawheed wal-inqiyadu lahu bil-ta'a wal-bara'a min ash-shirk wa ahlihi. That the meaning of Islam is what? To submit to Allah by actualizing or singling out worship. It's Islam lillahi bil-Tawheed wal-inqiyadu lahu bil-ta'a. And also be subservient to Him by obeying His commands. And to free yourself from polytheism and His people. You ask them, go to the masajid, ask them the definition, they'll say one of the most weirdest definitions. What are you guys, are y'all being taught properly in this masajid? What are they teaching you here? Well, that's Islam means peace. It's not the meaning of Islam. It's from its goals. The goals is to bring peace, but that's not the foundation. What will attain peace is that people have to have knowledge about what? About Allah. You understand everyone? It's the reason why the society now is being so corrupted now. Everybody's acting like maniacs. People with no sense out here. Because they don't have no knowledge about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Acting like savages or worse. No respect for anyone or anything. Just get out my way before I kill you. That's the attitude of everyone now. I don't care. I'll steal from you and I'll get over on you. I'll do what I got to do to survive. Because I'm grimy, I don't care. Why do you think they have a grimy attitude? Because they have no knowledge of Allah. That's the normal. You said that? You can't do that. This is America will never let you allow you to reprimand someone that's open homosexual now. These are the days and times they have. You can't do that here in America. America, they have rights. You can't do it. You can't. Nope, not in America. You have to use hikmah too. Plus, on top of that, you got to realize. Also, I want to teach you something. The fact that he's upon kufr and shirk is worse than him being openly gay. You hear me? The fact that a person is upon kufr, disbelief, and polytheism is worse than him being gay. So, if you want to be amazed at all the people that's upon kufr and shirk around you. You understand? That's because that state is worse. I know it blows your mind to see that, but at the end of the day, the fact that a person dies in the state of kufr, shirk, is way worse. Because if a person dies in that state, they never come out of hell, ever. Never come out of hellfire. Indeed? Right, hold on, last one, so we can wrap up the lesson. You already read? He was memorizing. Good. The severe warning for despairing from the mercy of Allah. Giving up. Giving up from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive polytheism, everyone? I say. So what's the... That's what they said. As long as a person doesn't what? Die upon it. If you die upon it, done. Die upon shirk, Allah will never forgive you. If you leave it off during the time while you're still alive, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it clear. قُلْ لعبادي الذين أسرفوا على أنفسهم لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله إن الله يغفر الذنوب جميعا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم وأنيبوا إلى ربكم وأسلموا له. That's the ayah. He said in the ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ يا عبادي الذين أسرفوا على أنفسهم لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله. Alhamdulillah, I just mentioned that's connected to this period. Say to my servants who have transgressed every boundary upon themselves, going to the boundaries and exceeding. Do not despair from the mercy and despair from the mercy of Allah. That ayah was revealed to a Sahaba who did a lot of oppression. They committed a lot of fornication before they became Muslim. They did a lot of terrible acts, a lot of terrible things. Violence, killing, murder, a lot of corruption, evil, a lot of satanic practices, a lot of satanic acts of killing and murder, and bloodshed, and fornication, to the end of it. And they found that they lost all hope to the point where they said, how can Allah forgive us for all this evil that we've done? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, revealed that ayah. Say to my servants who have transgressed the bounds upon themselves, don't give up from what? The mercy of Allah. Verily Allah forgives all sins. Verily He is all gracious, most merciful. This is the point of ayah. وَأَنِيبُوا إِلَى رَبِّكُمْ وَأَسْلِمُوا لَهُ. Make tawbah to your Lord and submit to Him. Jayid? Jayid. There's another part of the ayah. We'll stop here. Anyway. So that's to show the severe warning of what everyone to give up for what? For the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's all from the plots of Shaitan to get the slave or get the servant to fall into one of these extremes. And Shaitan will always focus on you trying to fall into some extreme in your belief system first. You start with that. Shirk. And you'll start with the affairs of pertaining and go and revolves around your belief system, trying to corrupt that first. Then the Shaitan knows that you're firm in your belief system, then that's when he'll move to the what? You start to go into the sins. But once you corrupted the foundation and everything else doesn't matter after that. Whether you do good or bad, it doesn't matter. You can have the best manners, but if you're upon kufr and shirk, at the end of the day, on the day of resurrection, it doesn't matter. So Shaitan is always going to do his best and put forth his utmost evidence in trying to corrupt your belief system first. To view to be extreme is somewhere in your belief system, which we'll talk about next class, inshallah. So we finished the chapter. So any questions about the lesson? Hold on. You out of all people knows this. You know the answer. The reward will be paradise. That's why I said the reward will be paradise. What's the greatest reward other than paradise? The greatest reward is on the day of resurrection. The greatest reward on the day of resurrection knows you're going to be saved from that hellfire that's going to make everyone go ballistic. Because we're going to make everyone, as well Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described, is making the hearts, making the hearts leave and come up and move and go down and up. Certain people that would be turning gray, even though they were. Actually, what's the most ultimate success? It's to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to have mercy and receive from the other heart. It's the greatest of all success. Say that too. Once you have to pray with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you see his face. وأنذر يوم الآزفة إذ القلوب لدى الحناجر كاظمين ما للظالمين من حميم ولا شفيع يطاع يعلم خائنة الأعين وما تخفي الصدور. You know the ayat. You know the ayat Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says وأنذر يوم الآزفة إذ القلوب لدى الحناجر كاظمين ما للظالمين من حميم ولا شفيع يطاع. Warn them of the day was يوم الآزفة إذ القلوب لدى الحناجر كاظمين. Warn them of the day that's coming and when their hearts will be rising up to their throats. Out of severe worry, and horror, fear, and fright. And anyway, we'll stop. Question about the lesson? So we gotta finish. This is Surah Ibrahim. We need that. This is Surah Ibrahim. I can't remember it. Nobody ever done it. Surah Ibrahim. Any other questions anyone so I get to ayat from? Anything else? What's the ayat? Any other questions, anyone? Anything? Anything? Like, we'll stop here. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Don't forget, brothers, after this Friday will be the last class for this time.